Tomorrow, they'll be bringing one of the most important votes of the entire year. Let's get into it and discuss what is this vote and why is it so incredibly important. Hey everyone, welcome. Thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as I'm back for you each and every day in videos just like this one, bringing you all the latest updates hot off the wire as they're being released, and I'm very much committed and dedicated to helping out each and every one of you as well as the community as a whole with the honest, accurate, reliable, and transparent information every single day in videos just like this one. So thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. Subscribe down below, and I promise you I'll be here for you every single day, no matter what, bringing you all these updates and helping you through this time in any way that I possibly can. All right, thank you so much. Let's get into it and talk about this very, very important vote that's coming down tomorrow. All right, so as we know, it is an absolute mess right now with Congress, right? They have so much on their plate right now. They have these two packages that are supposed to be voted on. In fact, they're supposed to be voted on last week and passed. Well, as we know, they're delayed, and now there's a lot of talk about them potentially coming to the floor sometime this week. Again, we'll see about that. I can't imagine that they're actually going to bring them this week, but there are some people that are very confident that they will get to them sometime later this week. We will see about that, of course. I will continue to bring you those updates. However, we also do know that last week, Congress voted on and passed the continuing resolution, which will actually keep the government funded through early December of this year, so we don't need to worry about a potential government shutdown going forward now that the new fiscal year has started and they haven't actually come together and figured out the new federal budget for this new fiscal year. So we're kind of rolling with that for a little bit longer now. But on top of that, we do know that we have some other issues that are hanging out there in the wings right now, especially what we're going to be talking about with this incredibly important vote that is going down tomorrow. Now, why is this so incredibly important, and what are they actually voting on? So yesterday from the Senate floor, Chuck Schumer, who happens to be the leader of the Senate on the Democratic side, announced to the floor that he will be bringing this very important vote on a suspension to the debt ceiling, which will actually carry it out through December of 2022. Now, you might be thinking, okay, doesn't sound like a stimulus package. Why do we care about this debt ceiling issue? Now, here's the thing. All of this is coming down in a matter of less than 2 weeks. In fact, according to the Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, she has said that pretty much the Treasury only has money in their reserves right now to bring them through October 18th. After that, we could be looking at some major issues, as in the government no longer has money. Like, they're broke, zero money. They have zero money to pay their bills and their obligations. So they need to suspend the debt ceiling, like what they want to vote on tomorrow in the Senate, according to Chuck Schumer, because if they don't get this passed, we could potentially be looking at a major default on the behalf of the federal government. Now, let me explain this a little bit further, just to explain what this default actually means. Here's what it means very simply. Put it into a personal example, just like us. We don't have any money, right? Because we haven't gotten any stimulus checks. We have no money. We can't pay our bills. What happens? We default on our obligations, right? In other words, we cannot pay our obligations. It's the exact same thing when it comes to the federal government. They are out of money. They don't have any money to pay the bills, and they only have less than 2 weeks of reserves. As of right now, it's less than 2 weeks. 13 days from right now, we could be looking at a major issue, right? So October 18th is that day that Janet Yellen has written, like kind of drawn in the sand, saying this is kind of the day. We've got to get this done between now and then. So Chuck Schumer will be bringing this vote to the floor in the Senate tomorrow. However, he needs 60 votes to get this thing passed through the Senate. Is it going to happen? I'm going to bet right now, no, it's not going to pass. Here's why I'm saying that. Republicans have already vowed that they will not be voting in favor of this, and they continue to urge Democrats to do this through budget reconciliation. They have the ability to do it on their own, completely through reconciliation. So essentially, Mitch McConnell and Republicans have come out saying, we're not going to vote for it. Democrats, you can do it all by yourself. Just go ahead and do it. Well, Chuck Schumer is not exactly too excited about that, and either way, he's still going to bring it to the floor tomorrow for that vote, and hoping that he'll get 10 Republicans to vote along with all of the Democrats and get the necessary 60 votes that they need. Again, I'm going to go ahead right now and just say it's going to be a stretch, and I highly doubt it's actually going to pass. But again, we have no clue what's going to happen simply because it's coming tomorrow, and literally, Congress is a wild card at this point, right? Seriously, we've seen this happen so many times over the last year and a half now. Congress says they're going to do one thing, the next thing you know, they're doing the complete opposite. So we honestly have no clue what's going to happen until we actually see it. But Chuck Schumer has said that they need to get this bill onto the president's desk by the end of this week. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and say, Good luck, Chuck. I mean, that actually rhymes. Good luck, Chuck. Seriously. No, but again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not taking sides with any of this. I'm just letting you know, this is what we have on the table right now. This is the information that we have at hand, and this is what we know has been said. So, just kind of going along with what has been said, again, anybody can say anything until we actually see the proof in the pudding, right? Until they actually come through with their votes and decide through the voting process, will they actually back this thing up? Will they get it passed through or not? But yeah, this is going to be a major, major issue. Now, one more thing, I want to throw this out there. And again, please, I'm just saying this just because this is in the headlines. It's been mentioned many, many times. Literally, I come across articles that talk about this every single day. I'm not saying this to scare anybody, but I'm just throwing this out there because this is something that is being talked about quite a bit right now. They're saying if there is no suspension to the debt ceiling going forward, we could be seeing some major delays when it comes to payments to people like Social Security, Retirement, Disability, SSDI, Survivors, SSI, VA, and RRB. Basically, anything that the federal government would fund would potentially be seeing some major delays on payments, simply because they don't have money to send out. Well, in this case, when it comes to Social Security, it's not a matter of not having the money, because they do. It's coming out of the Social Security trust funds, right? And we know, because we've talked about this in previous videos, the trust funds have about $3 trillion. So it's not a matter of not having the money. They have the money. You'll get your benefits. There's not going to be like an end to benefits, things like that. But simply, they could be a delay in getting that money out to the people, simply because they may not have the means to get it done when the federal government is broke, if you know what I mean, right? So again, I don't want to say that to scare anybody. Please, I'm not scaring anybody with this. I'm simply just letting you know this is in the headlines. We are seeing this across the board. Literally, I've seen it every single day, probably multiple times a day. All these articles and people coming out saying, if this actually happens, where the debt ceiling, the debt ceiling is not suspended, and we go into this default in a matter of less than 2 weeks, we could be seeing some major issues when it comes to getting these payments out to tens of millions of beneficiaries and other people out there, like anything that's basically funded through the federal government, right? So I just want to make sure that you are aware of this. Again, please don't be scared about it. The money will come, you will get your benefits, but there could potentially be a delay. That's kind of the problem, is we don't know how long this delay could be. It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month. We have no clue. We literally have no clue. I've not seen a single data point that says the delay will be 3 days and 14 hours. I've never seen anything like that. I've simply seen basically just blanket statements saying we could see some massive delays on these federal payments. It's just something to take note of, right? So as you can see, the urgency behind getting this suspension of the debt ceiling, simply because that's one of the major issues, but there are so many other things. Anything that is federally funded would probably see their funds dry up immediately, simply because they don't have the money. They don't have the money to fund all of these projects, right? That is why this is so incredibly important. Not only that, the United States as a whole would kind of be whacked when it comes to the credit rating of the United States. If we've never missed a payment in the history of this country, and all of a sudden we default and say, hey, creditors, sorry, all the people who gave us the money and lent us all this money, basically we're saying, sorry, we can't pay you back this month. We'll have to catch you next month, right? What's that going to do to our credit rating? It's just like our credit score as individuals, right? Our credit score is based on our ability to pay on time and all these different factors, right? Well, it's essentially the exact same thing when it comes to the government, or the government and the country as a whole, the entire United States, right? So yeah, you can see why this is such a big issue. Now, Joe Manchin, everybody knows about Joe Manchin by now, right? We've talked about him a number of times over the last week or so. Joe Manchin has come out and said that he would be open to backing up Democrats moving forward with the reconciliation process to actually suspend the debt ceiling on their own. He also mentioned there are other methods in which they can do this completely on their own. He said it's going to be a little bit painful, as far as there's going to be a lot of vote-a-ramas, in other words, hours and hours and hours of voting, like a marathon of voting, a lot of things like this. So there are ways that they can get this done, but here's the deal. Time is a ticking. Yeah, we have less than 2 weeks to get this thing done here before we could see some like catastrophic events going on right now, right? So as you can see, the magnitude behind this vote, why it's so incredibly important, and not to mention we have Congress renegotiating out all of the details of these stimulus packages, the reconciliation bill where they want to lower the price tag by about $1.5 trillion or thereabout, anywhere between about 1.9 and about 2.2 or 2.3 trillion dollars. So they want to lower it anywhere between about 1.2 to about $1.6 trillion, according to what the president has actually indicated, right? So as you can see, Congress has a lot going on right now. They have seriously so much on their plate right now. It's like unbelievable that that they're actually like trying to move forward with some of this stuff. Either way, they got to really prioritize all of this stuff and figure out what is highest priority. And probably right now, it's probably something to do with the suspension of the debt ceiling, like we've been talking about in this video. So anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention. We'll probably be seeing those votes coming down tomorrow, as Chuck Schumer has promised that they would be bringing that vote to the floor in the Senate tomorrow. And I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I highly anticipate it's going to fail. But again, we have no clue until we actually see it. But I just want to let you know what is going on right now, what votes are going to be happening, and what is happening across Congress, as they have so much cooking on their plate right now. And don't worry, I'll continue to do all the research. I'll be back tomorrow with the latest updates. I'll let you know how those votes go tomorrow. And of course, I'll be back later with another video and more updates, especially on all this information that we are getting during this time. So enjoy your day. Stay safe out there. I hope this update helps you out. And please remember, subscribe to the channel right down below, as this channel is your one and only channel you need to be watching right now for all of the latest updates, as I am very much committed to bringing you honest, accurate, reliable, and transparent information as your one and only daily advocate. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later. I'll see ya.